With us right now is Joseph Carnes, the founder and race director of the Santa Fe Thunder Half Marathon. Now in its 6th year, it'll be Sunday, the 18th of September, that they're going to run a half marathon and a 5K race and a 1-mile walk, a little something for everybody at this race. Joseph, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, John.
The Santa Fe Thunder, tell us about your race and the special cultural and charitable things that make it the pride of Santa Fe running.
Certainly. Given Santa Fe's status as a world-class visitor destination and beautiful location, we modeled our race after the Big Sur International Marathon, which was the first destination marathon. And what we decided to do was create an event designed to attract runners from all over the country and all over the world to Santa Fe. Let them run down the beautiful Old House Highway from Santa Fe to Buffalo Thunder, which is a downhill course, which helps. We're at 7,000 feet. And add a whole different demographic of visitors to Santa Fe and give them a reason to come here. So our 6th year, as you mentioned, the race has grown every year and it's turned into a fantastic event that we're proud to be part of and have created, and to add to the many events that take place during the summer in Santa Fe.
So one of the things that I find so interesting about it, your founding partner is a Kenyan, Abraham, and you work with New Mexican indigenous culture. You have some charitable interests in Mexico as well. And I find it fascinating, as I've spoken to you about this event over time, the history of indigenous running, how important running is to indigenous New Mexicans, but that you also have parallels clear across the face of the globe in Kenya. So talk about how these cultures interact and how running is a strong and important tradition going back centuries within these different and yet related cultures.
Certainly. We started the event in our nonprofit organization, Global Running Culture, as a 100% volunteer nonprofit effort. Abraham moved to Santa Fe from Kenya about 10 years ago. He was a world-class runner. He was named to the Sydney Olympic team in 2000. He's made Pojoaque his home. He works for the Pueblo of Pojoaque. And when he moved here, it became clear to him how similar the native cultures are to his home in Kenya. And he had the opportunity to learn, and I learned right along with him, the long and rich history of running and how important it is to the native cultures in the Southwest. You were talking earlier about equestrian events. Well, before the horse came with the Spanish in the 1600s, messages and communications were carried by runners. There were running messengers in every village around the Southwest. They would run tens of miles, dozens of miles to carry messages, hand them off to the next messenger. They would cover the whole Southwest all the way through Mexico into Central and South America. And the tales of these running messengers are just incredible. And so we learned together, and the running is a important part of the culture, just as it is in Abraham's area in Kenya. And so the idea of global running culture is that this is something, a basic activity that we all as humans share in common. And so we bridged that gap, and we formed Global Running Culture to work with Native Americans here in northern New Mexico, the Tarahumara Indians in Copper Canyon, Mexico, who as a culture are the greatest ultra-distance runners in the world. And of course, Abraham's village in his area in Kenya, where we're preparing to build a school to help the next generation have the same opportunities that Abraham had.
I think you were telling me as far back as the Pueblo Revolt in 1680, and perhaps far, far further back than that, but that runners from the Pueblos here in northern New Mexico went out to Hopi, and as far as, did you tell me Mexico City?
No, they went it's about 300 miles out to Hopi,
Okay.
but there's a famous story about Catuan and Omtua, who were two teenagers from the Tesuque Pueblo who carried the message of the revolt down south of Santa Fe towards the Lamy area. And there's a story about that. But the tales of indigenous runners are fascinating, and we have really enriched our lives, and we try to share them on our website through our race blog, which is on the website www.santafethunder.com, and share those stories that we've been learning. It's been a great adventure that we've had since starting the race 6 years ago.
Running from Santa Fe to Hopi is big time running.
Absolutely. Well, what happens is the messengers run, and they're at villages in between. They pass off and continue the message, and it's amazing how rapid communications can happen over long distances.
So folks who run the Santa Fe Thunder are not only sort of tapping into this tradition geographically, but they're running with the descendants of some of these runners.
Absolutely.
Kenyans and New Mexican Pueblo people and Mexico
It's
Indian.
a true multicultural event that is, in addition to the three cultures that have been in Santa Fe for a long time. The Kenyan culture has been in Santa Fe and in northern New Mexico for about 40 years now. This year we're honoring Peter Koech, who is a former world record holder. He won the silver medal in the 1988 Olympic steeplechase. He lives in Albuquerque. He and his good friend Henry Rono, after they graduated from college at Washington State, they moved to Albuquerque because it is a very similar environment to the Nandi Hills outside of Nairobi, where they grew up in the Kalenjin area of Kenya. They've lived there for over 40 years, and Peter is one of the two grandfathers of Kenyan running in New Mexico. There have been about 3 generations of runners leading up to Abraham coming to Santa Fe. He came here because of the word of mouth going back to Peter and Henry. Wow. Caroline Rotich, who won the Boston Marathon last year, she has lived in Santa Fe the last 3 years. She came here because of Abraham. There's another runner, Alafine Tulia McBolton. She lives in Santa Fe. She was in the United States Olympic trials this year. She became a citizen this year. She is here because she heard about Santa Fe from Caroline. So there's a long chain of runners descending back to Henry and Peter, and we're really excited that Peter, world-class world record holder, is going to be at the race. It's a rare opportunity for people to see world-class athletes performing. These are the top runners in the world who are going to be here racing for prize money at the Santa Fe Thunder Half Marathon.
So it's a great event to see, but as I know from your efforts, you've also got folks from all around the U.S. and beyond who come here to run. Now, for folks like Caroline and the others you mentioned, living in Santa Fe is quite a training advantage. We have lots of athletes who take advantage of our high altitude, and they're acclimated to the dryness. For runners who want to come out and take a part in your marathon or your half marathon on the 18th, what is the advice that you provide to them to be ready for running in our climate? Even though it is essentially a downhill race, there's still, I think, some advisory.
That's the key feature, is that we designed the course. It drops, it's a point-to-point course. It drops a net 1,000 feet from Santa Fe to Buffalo Thunder. But if you can get here a couple of days early, hydration is a key. You don't want to, as you mentioned, John, our air is dry here, the humidity is low, so you want to be hydrated. That's probably the key thing. You're not going to fully acclimate to Santa Fe. It takes a couple of months to do that. But the keys are hydration and the downhill course, and enjoy it. If you're coming up from sea level, you're probably not going to set a personal record here, but you're coming here to celebrate. This is a bucket list experience for people, and destination running has boomed in the last couple of decades. Right. And last year we had runners from 41 states and 8 countries come to Santa Fe. We've been growing every year, and it's a reason to come to Santa Fe and then celebrate your great achievement by enjoying. Go up to 10,000 waves, go to the restaurant, stay a couple of days afterwards, and make it into a vacation. That's what the whole destination running concept is all about.
41 states and 8 countries. You're to be congratulated for that. That's
fantastic.
Thank you. What are some of the amenities and other things that go on in addition to the race?
Yeah, well, we call Santa Fe Thunder the race different, and tearing off of the city different, but we have multicultural aspects that runners won't see at any other race. For example, Abraham, he is a Kalenjin warrior. He's a descendant of his grandfather, who was the chief of the area that he grew up in, and he has a kudu horn, a 4-foot-long horn that his grandfather blew for ceremonial purposes to attract people and spread the word. He starts the race by blowing that horn, wearing traditional Kalenjin warrior attire. You don't see any other race in the world start in that fashion. Along the course, we have 7 different musical acts. We have African drummers. We have a lot of musicians from around the area. That really motivates the runners. It keeps the course exciting and for both spectators and runners alike. And then at the finish, I'd like to share, maybe you can help me, John. We work with Pueblo artists, the Gachapin family from Jemez Pueblo, hand make 180 age group medals each year. They go 3 deep in 15 age groups in both the half marathon and the 5K. And for our Santa Fe audience, I'd like to emphasize that the 5K is an opportunity to participate, to go out and see the world-class runners, to have a chance to win one of these medals, and by finishing the race, you'll get a finisher's medal, which are designed and they're mass produced, but they're a special gift that everyone gets. And so those are some of the aspects that make our race different.
Those are beautiful. I'm inspired to maybe get a little training going here and
There you
see
go.
if I can run a half marathon by September 18th.
Absolutely, or the 5K as well. And the 5K is
good
held,
point.
we call it the Lightning 5K. It's off the road. It's on a trail next to the Toa Golf Course up at Buffalo Thunder. It's a beautiful course. It goes through a little valley. There are some hills in it, and it's a really special area of the Pueblo of Pojoaque. And so to go up there, you know, to walk or run 3 miles, that's not nearly as much of a challenge as or commitment to train for 13. And so anyone from the area can come out and participate in that event.
That's a great point. And the 1 mile walk is?
The 1 mile walk, it's on the same course. It goes a half a mile up the 5K course and then back. And then at the finish line, we start all of the races at the same time. So the half marathoners are coming down from Santa Fe. The 5K and the 1 mile walk participants, they will be at the finish line. They'll be able to see the winners, the world-class runners cross the finish line. And then after the race, there's a party that goes on through much of the day outdoors at Buffalo Thunder. Whole Foods has a food tent with free snacks for the participants.
Excellent.
There are breakfast burritos for sale. There's beer for sale. Live music. We have the Pojoaque Pueblo youth hoop dancers perform at the finish line. So it's a big party and it's a great celebration and a wonderful way to end a great start to the morning.
Well, it's a really ideal Santa Fe event. You're tying in our culture, our food, our outdoors, our art, so many things that make Santa Fe the best place in the world, the top destination in the world to visit or to live and to be an athlete, all of those things. Santa Fe Thunder Half Marathon represents that. It's Sunday the 18th. You can go to santafethunder.com to find out all the information to get ready for the race. Anything you need, santafethunder.com. Joseph, thank you for your time. Can't wait for race day.
Thank you for having me, John. I appreciate it.
Go get 'em.